This is the start of something very special. This is the start of a new era in Counter-Strike.
The Copenhagen Major was the most important Counter-Strike tournament ever. It was a battleground upon which more than just supremacy on the server was at stake.
Because the thing with CSGO was that it was at its peak when they took it away from us.
CS2's first major became a war for the very future of the game.
We need the moments from these kids on stage with the crowd going nuts to become the heroes of today. So we can get excited about the next generation as opposed to just worrying about the history.
So I don't think there's any way they can win this one.
I was going to say if they stay by restrooms. Wait a minute. They're going to be walking right into the headshots. Brokey. He's nearly got. Oh, and it's one tap. Frozen, the Iceman.
The question is who's going to be on the throne? What is the lay of the land?
Legends new and old would fight tooth and nail to become Counter-Strike 2's first kings.
That was more than just a game. This was personal.
And yet, it was the team that no one believed in who would claim the crown.
All the pressure is on Rain's shoulders. No kit means
It's
he
done.
needs the kill. And JL has arrived in the Royal Arena!
An organization with a history of success, gambling on new glory with fresh blood, and led by an IGL with a legacy of failure, all abandoned by the greatest player the game has ever seen.
It's going to be a wild ride when you join the team with Simple in it, and then you don't have him anymore.
Counter-Strike needs Simple because it's a once-in-a-lifetime player. There's no other Simples running around.
But despite the nearly insurmountable odds, these unlikely heroes poured their hearts and souls into proving everyone wrong.
And they know it now. They all know it now. The best moment of the rest of their lives is about to come through. And there's the killing blow. Navi's highest height in years.
And now with the major champion. So who's talking now?
Okay, so before we start talking about the first CS2 major, I just want to quickly thank our friends over at Be Quiet for sending us to Copenhagen so we could experience all of the excitement in person and share it with you. We wanted to get our documentary out to you as soon as possible, and Be Quiet are the hardware wizards for those of us who need to be able to work and play without any annoying distractions getting in the way. Their Shadow Base 800 case in white is something that we here at theScore Esports use on the regular. It's quiet, it looks amazing, and honestly, it's been a godsend for our studio. And if you'd like one for yourself, visit Be Quiet's Amazon brand store using the link in the description. Thank you again to Be Quiet for sponsoring our trip. Now let me tell you what happened. Counter-Strike majors are everything. With a history stretching back all the way to 2001, winning a major trophy has been the one unquestionable marker of true greatness in CS. But 2024's Copenhagen Major was even more important than that. It was the very first Counter-Strike 2 major. CSGO took Counter-Strike to new heights, but with the game fully replaced by its sequel, it was time to usher in the era of CS2 by crowning its first champion.
A lot of the big names already established themselves and understand the game really well, and it's hard to beat them. And with CS2 coming out, it kind of leveled the playing field for a lot of players and teams, and now it's up to the hardest worker, and the player who spends the most time in the game will excel forward.
Nearly 20,000 fans gathered to witness CS history. Whoever won this one was going to be immortalized.
Right now we're in a point where the new engine and new excitement around the game will bring new eyeballs, and then the players who are hungry and have the ability, they're definitely going to hopefully become in the spotlight so that we can build upon them. You need stars of today for people to want to get excited to watch these matches.
There's also excitement in the uncertainty of a new game. Like, we're in CS2 right now, the question is who's going to be on the throne, what is the lay of the land.
Surprisingly, one of the biggest unknowns of the tournament was one of Counter-Strike's best known teams. Everyone knew Na'Vi, but a lot of that fame came from the notably absent GOAT of Global Offensive, Simple. Simple stepped down from Na'Vi in the earliest days of CS2, leaving his team without a superstar. And so Na'Vi now was a very different team from the one that won PGL Stockholm back in 2021. In fact, the only remaining members of the old squad were Rifler Bit and Coach Blade. Stepping in for Simple was Wonderful, a young Ukrainian opper who had the impossible task of living up to his idol's legacy. Rounding out the lineup were Lithuanian rifler JL and Romanian entry fragger Ima, both of whom made top 4 at the very last CSGO major in Paris, although on different teams. And last but not least, leading this newly minted Na'Vi was IGL Alexi B. Once, Alexi B took Finnish underdogs ENCE to a major grand final, but he'd been chasing that high since to very little success. Alexi was given the keys to what some thought was yet another overly challenging project with Na'Vi.
I wouldn't say Na'Vi was like a Team B before. Oh yeah, Simple's got to go off. Yeah, of course, him going off always made a difference, but the players around him, when he was on the roster, everyone had to do something, everyone had to perform to an extent. Alexi B has had to come into an interesting project here, and he's making it work, and I think he wants it to play like a structured, system-based team, and looking at his track record or approach to teams, that's usually what he does. I think he's in the process of building. I don't think it's the finished product yet.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's going to be a wild ride when you join the team with Simple in it, and then you don't have him anymore. It's a little heartbreaking, but I think we got a really, really good replacement instead of Simple.
Na'Vi were the last team that anyone seriously expected to take home the big prize. Their ragtag roster of misfits just paled in comparison to the titanic star power on other lineups. While Na'Vi did have potential, people were much more excited about teams like FaZe Clan, a well-oiled machine of grizzled veterans who were out for their second major win. Kerrigan was already the oldest major winner to date, and looking to prove that age really was just a number. Rain, weeks away from being the longest-serving member of any CS roster ever, brought a wealth of experience to his team, and Rops was grinding CS2 like no one else in the scene. But despite all this, FaZe wasn't a sure bet either. In fact, many pegged them to lose their first top 8 match to Team Spirit. Spirit were coming off of an incredible 3-0 victory against FaZe at IEM Katowice, thanks in large part to their 17-year-old superstar rifler, Donk. The rest of his team, save their veteran leader Chopper, were equally green. But that didn't stop the hype train. If anything, Spirit's very youth and relative inexperience marked them out as the next generation of CS2 superstars.
Has the potential to have another impactful round. He strafes into Donk. They can't get past him. A triple kill to secure it off the back of the timeout. Rosen caught off. Magix delivers. And there's nothing here. Nothing for Rops. Donk has got it. It's a quad kill.
His awareness is good. He's just got that young, new generation aim. He's got that kind of almost naive confidence because he's so young, you know. In his head, he's just like, all of these old people suck. You know, that's how in his mind he's probably categorized it. He's like, these old guys can't shoot like me.
Donk has obviously the possibility of just carrying a game himself, and the other guys have been stepping up. And as long as they have that strength, I don't think there's many teams who can challenge them long term.
Every team going into the top 8 had something to prove. Every team was looking to own the future of CS. Who would win it all? What version of CS2 would reign supreme? Did the game belong to the star players, to the misfits, to the next generation of talent, or to something else entirely?
I just want the best Counter-Strike all the time possible, right? And I think that if we're not going to get the best Counter-Strike, then second best is the most entertaining Counter-Strike. And for me, entertainment comes from the thought that anybody can win.
When we got together as a 5, we had a goal to improve, feel each other out, build chemistry. Since the new year, we had a goal to win. And now it's no more room for mistakes and just perform at your best level. And if you don't, it's going to be bad.
Every single team knew what they were fighting for, the future of the game we all love. And all of the contenders for shaping that future were ready to make it work here and now. Going into the Copenhagen Major, Na'Vi hadn't played with Simple for nearly half a year, but his absence still cast a massive shadow over the team.
Counter-Strike needs Simple because it's a once-in-a-lifetime player. You don't get, there's no other Simples running around.
Yeah, the crazy part is that everybody, when Simple left, you kind of felt like you lost Na'Vi, right? But then they find another local Ukrainian guy.
I feel like we're not trying to fill his shoes in any case. I feel like it's more of a team effort now. Because with the previous Na'Vi lineup, they had Simple, Electronic, huge names in the game. It's really hard to replicate what they've done.
But Na'Vi's first test on their journey to prove they were more than the players Simple left behind was another band of misfits, one who carried an entire country's hopes and aspirations on their backs. Eternal Fire.
What we showed in the major, coming to the top 8 in playoff as a Turkish team, first Turkish team, I think it's really something big, and if we can win it, it can be really big for our country and for the next generation.
In Counter-Strike, this is the second hurdle. It's from land now to the playoff stage, to the big crowds, to the pressure that comes with that, to the thought of thousands of Turkish fans in stadiums, even back in Turkey, you know, having these watch parties and celebrating. Like, they really have the power of a country behind them.
Had Simple still been a part of the team, most fans would likely bet on Na'Vi. But without him around, the surging Turkish underdogs felt like a serious opponent, one who could end the Ukrainian org's new legend before it even began. Could this younger, newer Na'Vi rally without their superstar and prove the doubters wrong?
Absolutely, clotheslines walks in to kick things off as Major fights for his life now. All he can really do is hold on to the AWP. It looks like he's good to do so. I assume he hits this shot on bet. And now in a 1 versus 2, but no chance of winning the round, of course. And they're going for the hunt here. Im's low HP doesn't matter too much. And he should have this frag. Major doing a great job of staying alive here. Padding the stats. Oh, wow. He actually does it, Anders. Not bad at all.
They're pushing in from either side, and he knows and has to push forward. It's a strong headshot here. He needs one more, and Walk 6 on the other side. JL, can he?
Oh!
He can. They're at 15, and they've almost got the game. And here comes trouble. All the pistols in front. Wonderful, doing whatever he can. Jam score. He cannot be stopped. He has aced them to save the day for Na'Vi. Wonderful to go down next. All on bit as he gets the first couple of kills. Instant shutdown, a flash around the corner. He swings, he swings it, bit by bit, and bullet by bullet. To the deep history of Counter-Strike. Major with a shot in the back, but he does go down. Centaurus will fall. It's Na'Vi to bring the chaos to Copenhagen and the pain to Eternal Fire.
And just like that, despite an immense display of skill that got them further than any Turkish team had ever gone before, Eternal Fire were extinguished. Na'Vi moved on to the semi-finals and secured a solid foothold in this tournament, an achievement they earned on their own merit without Simple.
Better roster, better players, better game leader, and we're going to go to the finals for sure.
For sure.
But, as surprising as Na'Vi's victory may have been, something else was about to shake up the major even more. G2 and Mouse were on the precipice of joining Na'Vi in the semi-finals. All that stood between them and the next stage of the playoffs was the other team. But instead of being able to focus on the Counter-Strike, the crowd was treated to an entirely different sort of spectacle. Halfway through map 2, a riot broke out at Royal Arena.
Still a dignified half. We have a top ranking, honestly, but not in the dome. Morrissey is right there. Critical territory now.
The disruption was allegedly related to a long-standing rivalry between two CS skin gambling sites, whose owners were trying to use the tournament to leave a mark of their own on the future of the game.
Why the f*** are you partnered with the illegal casino? You're hurting me! You're hurting me!
The majors helped CSGO explode in popularity, and the skin market grew with it. CS2 represented another chance for skin gambling sites to strike rich, and they wanted to remain a part of CS2's future by inserting themselves into the present, even if that meant putting the entire event in jeopardy. But if they thought that any publicity was good publicity, they were sorely mistaken. No one wanted to see these gambling sites try to take the spotlight away from the pros competing for the real future of CS.
There was a small disruption, but the security staff and PGL have done their job. And all I want to do right now is focus on the Counter-Strike!
Unfortunately for Mouse, the episode left the team so shaken up they didn't stand a chance. G2 would be Navi's next opponents. G2 were yet another team of superstars, led by two of the game's biggest names, Nico and Massey. Massey may have been young, but he wasn't just potential. He boasted the highest rating at the tournament. Alongside Nico, he represented G2's approach to the game. Youth backed up by experience.
I think it's always nice to have like a mix. You need some experienced player, but at the same time, you need a bit of like young blood. I think if we are looking on every strong teams, they have that kind of mix.
Would nerves get the best of them? Or would Navi be able to stand tall and bring down these legends? All right, we've made it to the semifinals, and before we dive into the insanity, I wanted to give a shout out to Mountain and their top tier gaming peripherals. Mountain were kind enough to send us a few of their spectacular keyboards, and if you were lucky enough to run into us at the Major, we gave them away to those who really knew their CS. But even if you're watching from home right now, you can still get your hands on an awesome keyboard of your own. Simply go to the Newegg link in the description to check out the Mountain Everest Max gaming keyboard. Trust me, you'll thank us for the reco. Once again, it was do or die in the semi-finals. Both Navi and G2 were plagued by doubters going into their match. No matter how gifted and hungry these lineups were, without synergy from the team as a whole, there was only so much any one single player could do.
I would be very surprised if G2 did it. It's not been the most convincing Counter-Strike coming out of them over the elimination stage. I wish them the best, but I really don't know if they have it in them right now.
Right now, I think it is a question of if the Kovac cousins can kind of put their inner critic of the game aside and actually just focus on what they can control. I've loved watching Massey play. So cool, so talented. He just needs a couple of pieces around him. They're very volatile right now. I don't know what to expect from G2. I have no idea.
But no matter what questions surrounded G2, simply having players as skilled as Nico and Massey made them a formidable opponent for a ragtag team like Navi. And the Ukrainian underdogs were going through a lot. Wonderful was basically doing double duty, replacing Simple while finding his own unique way of playing the game. He had enormous shoes to fill, and even though he'd made some amazing strides, no one was quite sure if he could go all the way.
And here comes trouble, all the pistols in front. Wonderful, doing whatever he can. Grams more, he cannot be stopped. He has aced them to save the day for Navi.
I feel like he has been really good individually and performing under the pressure. I think the first officials with Navi he played, he was top fragging, he was communicating really well, way better than in practice. It just feels like under the pressure and under the lights, he enters a new gear.
I think Wonderful's a talent. Wonderful's a great talent who maybe loses the limelight to the Donks and the Monasseys of the world, but Wonderful's there. He's capable. I think he has star potential.
JL wasn't expected to overperform either, but that was exactly what he was doing. He emerged as a serious threat at the Major, consistently delivering plays of an unprecedented caliber.
Already losing majority of his health, this round going one way. Oh! Or not! Takes down Imet.
The gap.
The gap. JL! He's got another! This would be unbelievable! Ace out of JL!
Some of the stats, he's been dropping some bombs. I saw a 40 bomb in one of the maps. He's definitely playing. He's got good output. I love his demeanor. I love his his approach. I think he's a really cool dude.
And together, Wonderful and JL put G2's major dreams to rest.
Do they double swing? It's going to be Nico down first. Hunter knows it's planted for him. Does he swing off the nade? Jiggle bait! Electi B! Early stages, they're not ready for Wonderful. He racks up another.
Damage inflicted, a little nade could do the job, but repositions. JL gone, needs another, falling away, run down by Wonderful. Nice! Wonderful surely done enough now. Taken down, Hunt to the nade. It finds just a little bit of damage. Wonderful lives on. The double kill from Wonderful, and he's not gonna stop. One more kill. Wonderful gets it. Sometimes your opponent's just having a really good day.
Na'Vi did it. Across 3 close maps, they brought down a pair of certified superstars. The doubters were silenced as Na'Vi prepared for one last series, with the future of CS2 on the line. Unfortunately, their opponents represented their most difficult challenge yet, FaZe Clan. All the way back in the quarterfinals, many thought FaZe would take a quick loss to Team Spirit, but instead, FaZe rallied. First, they knocked out the tournament favorites by outwitting and outgunning them on Vertigo.
9 seconds though, it can still go wrong. Zontic's down, 5 seconds.
to kill him.
Zero, dead! Not Team Spirit out!
And then, running hot, FaZe's superstar-studded roster wrestled down the defending major champions, Vitality.
Robs with the glance down mid, trying to catch some kind of movement. He will!
Oh.
Again, it is Zywu with nothing as he falls, crossing out from Ab.
Oh.
Apex is dead, and Flames with 2 kills ahead gets nothing!
Oh, Robs and Porch need a better duo.
To punch that ticket to grand finals, we get the climb over top and a clean headshot, but Rain always stoic. And if you let your guard down, if you do that, you'll die! Look at it! Bask in the glory of the FaZe Clan!
FaZe were on the warpath. They were hunting for a second major win, hunting to take ownership over the next chapter of Counter-Strike. As Vitality fell and FaZe entered the finals, it seemed inevitable that Karrigan would lift the major trophy once again and declare that his era wasn't over yet.
You know, FaZe is the team that you always have to have some level of faith in once they get to playoffs. People anticipating that FaZe would be in playoffs no matter what, because it's tough to imagine a world where they're not in playoffs. And then we just have this blind faith like, oh, once they get there, they'll be better. Because they always are.
The stone golem creeping round. As they tap it once, the door will swing, no cover! Sure enough, from outside to the depths. And Robs is gonna take an angle that could very well catch them off. There's a little bit of distance between the CTs. Flamesy, first contact dead. And we've got Zywu with no trade.
This grand final was do or die. Karrigan and Alexi B were about to lead their teams to the most important battle of their lives. A battle for the very soul of Counter-Strike. Less than a year ago, when Simple took a break, Alexi B suddenly had to lead Na'Vi through the competitive landscape of a brand new Counter-Strike without the best player in the world on their side. Now, his team was on stage for a grand finals match that would determine whether or not the embattled IGL could finally prove his worth.
Screw Alexi B haters. Every single time you go into HLTV, Alexi B is the problem, Alexi B is losing the game. No, it doesn't happen like that.
And it's the new school versus old school, right? I think the old school IGLs is like kind of a little bit weaker on the firepowering side. Like we don't see Karrigan having these massive performances, but like his tactical side is like often, right? So it's just about, can the new guys from like Sui, Alexi, can they bring with the kills and also like the tactical knowledge that a guy like Karrigan or these guys bring to the table? This is where like the most value of an in-game leader can come. Because if you're never really scared that he's gonna have a bad game, because he's just gonna be killing 15, 20 consistently, then it's gonna be such a luxury.
This grand final was about more than simply winning a trophy, as important as that in itself was. The Copenhagen Major would define its champions just as much as they would define it. The 2 finalists were about to take a shot at Counter-Strike godhood.
Alexi wrestling with the AK, support from Wonderful. Alexi can't deal with the last man. Wonderful misses the backstab. Brokey's now got time. FaZe desperately need this round. This is their best chance yet. Brokey playing with his food and with the backstab. And that's what Brokey he's all about. Crossfire set up. Alexi hasn't cleared deep enough. Alexi didn't clear it. And so Frozen gets out scot-free. Can he fire? Oh! Frozen is awake now! Quick double kill, but he's still got more to do. His job not done yet in this round. JL cancelled as Frozen finds him, and now it's just Bit. Bit deals with him. Na'Vi can feel this. They want this. Just a pistol of Brokey! And it stands the test of time. JL, can he save the day? Can he cook something up here? Now Phaser left. Brokey! Low on both players. This fight on a silver platter. No kit means it's done. The kill. And JL has arrived in the Royal Arena. Who got bypassed in this smoke. Oh no! And falling off. Oh! All together. You can dodge it for a moment, but you can't cheat death. It's just Bit. 1v2 and runs him down. Not even close. Na'Vi chased that bomb plant and they're going to get it down. Wonderful. Chance that, and that gets him off the bomb. Brokey takes it away. What? He has not forgot Antwerp. He does not forget the last time that these two teams matched up in a major grand final. Bit wants revenge, and he wants it swiftly.
You give him an AK, he'll give you a major trophy.
Lexi rounding the corner, the rest of the team in behind him. Imma locked in a separate fight at Banana, one that has yet to come through. It's Brokey to open. They deal with Imma on the flank, but it's only Frozen left standing. One kill from him. Any more? Frozen has got to be the guy, got to be the one. Oh! Had a great start to the game, but he's got to do a lot here, does JL. They're pressuring him onto the USP. Got to try and do it with the side up. What? They just can't deal with him, and eventually Rain will. 2v3 in the retake. Oh! And they know it now. They all know it now. The best moment of the rest of their lives is about to come through. And there's the killing blow. Na'Vi's highest height in years.
Na'Vi did it again. 3 whole years after their previous major win, with an almost entirely different lineup and without their superstar player. This team, without the household names their opponents boasted, doubted by everyone, proved them all wrong.
2 weeks ago, I was reading comments how I'm a tier 2 bot and I'll never reach anything in life, and now I'm the major champion. So who's talking now, bitch?
All the reflections I've made throughout my career, I don't take it too hard. I'm trying to learn, and I went into the decider constantly trying to make moves and trying to make them uncomfortable. And I felt like I had a good read on the game the whole match, and that was the most important match of my career, so I'm super happy.
Beyond giving us CS2's first champions, Copenhagen also gave us a glimpse of the future. The only constant in life is change, and Counter-Strike went through a period of momentous change and upheaval going into CS2's first major. CS2 was, inevitably, compared to CSGO, and faced criticism that could have felled a lesser game. As a result, its competitive future and what its first major would be like was a huge question mark. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. But no matter what obstacles arose along the way, the scene rallied and found a way to carry on. All of the cheering fans, the old-timers, the newcomers, and even those who left Pro Counter-Strike behind them showed up and made sure that CS2's first major was a success. PGL Copenhagen wasn't a battle of old versus new. Not really. We saw many new faces and learned a lot of new names, and a big chunk of the top performers were from the younger generation of players. But they weren't there to bury the past. Instead, this major was a coming together of everything and everyone that makes this game so great, adapting to the changes and forging a new path forward. Counter-Strike will have a future, and it'll be built by everyone who loves this game.
I just think it's a mindset. I just think it's the mindset of the sense that, you know, for some of these players, they played CSGO for 10 years. Like, well, we refined that, and now we need to keep learning. But the hunger for learning is what is going to keep you at the top of your game, no matter your age or what player you are.